Back to the 90s. The moment you wake up, you ignore your starving wife and daughter at home, not caring at all. Instead, you go crazy, digging through the trash pile for a moldy green-covered piece of broken glass. The whole compound thinks you've lost it. Only you know what happened in your past life. You were the chief engineer of a multi-billion tech company. Give you even a broken soldering iron. And you could build a colored TV from scratch. You're gonna sell it for big bucks to feed your family and give them a much better life. A piercing cry stabbed into Chunmo's mind like an awl. Someone screaming, begging not to have their coat taken away, saying it's a lifeline to trade for fever medicine for their child. Chunmo suddenly opened his eyes. He saw yellowed newspaper walls and a drafty, broken window. This was nothing like his high-tech core lab. Strange memories flooded his mind. Chunmo snapped awake in an instant. He'd been reborn. Last life, he started fixing beepers on Zhenhua Road, fighting all the way up to become chief engineer of a billion-dollar smart manufacturing group.
Anything from CNC machines
To tiny semiconductor chips. He could draw the blueprints with his eyes closed. But now, he was just a deadbeat gambler in a 90s shantytown. Same name, different man. A violent roar snapped him out of it. The broken door swung wide open. 3 burly men with mean faces in army coats blocked the entrance. Their boss was Qian Hu, a local thug and the original guy's loan shark. Today they're not taking people, just grabbing stuff. Chunmo, you owe 150 yuan. You gotta pay up with interest today. We need something extra. 2 guys started ransacking the place. One kicked open an old wooden cabinet and found half a bag of cornmeal, the last food left at home. They grabbed it all.
His wife, the Weaking, rushed over,
clinging desperately to the guy's arm, crying that it's their daughter's only food for tomorrow. The thug yanked free, throwing the Weaking hard to the cold concrete floor. Another guy ran to the stove, snatching the only valuable thing left, an iron pot. Proudly, he told Qian Hu, "This pot's heavy. It'll fetch 2 yuan at recycling." The Weaking saw stars from the fall, but scrambled back to the bed, clutching a worn coat and sobbing uncontrollably. "Brother Qian Hu, please have some mercy. Duado's had a high fever for 2 days. I need to trade the coat for medicine on the black market." On the bed under a ragged comforter, 4 or 5-year-old Duado's face burned red with fever, crying in pain for her mom, saying her head hurts. The thug with the pot walked over, yanking the coat away, cursing at the Weaking for not letting go, saying this is what happens when you don't pay your debts. He doesn't care if her kid's got a fever. Not his problem. The Weaking held onto the coat for dear life, her knuckles turning white. The thug called her shameless and raised his foot to kick her. Just then, a loud crash stopped him mid-kick. Chunmo, now standing up, had gotten to his feet at some point. His eyes were completely different now. No more cowardly, beaten look.
Now,
he had the cold authority of a man who's led tens of thousands. He tightly gripped a rusty wrench he'd pulled from under the bed. "Who do you think you're scaring with that thing? If you don't pay up tomorrow, we take your place. Kick your whole family out into the snow to freeze." As soon as he finished talking, Chunmo stepped closer, locked eyes on Qian Hu, and swung the wrench with all his strength at the rotted doorframe. Wood chips flew everywhere. The frame was smashed with a deep dent, knocking plaster off the wall. That fearless move sent the debt collectors backing off. Qian Hu shuddered all over, took half a step back. The other 2 guys were stunned too, loosening their grip on the coat. Qian Hu yelled, pretending to be tough, that Chunmo was crazy.
he said by noon tomorrow.
He wants every cent slapped in his face. It went dead silent in the house. Qian Hu looked into Chunmo's bloodshot eyes, suddenly nervous. All his street smarts told him this gambler was acting real weird today. Might actually get violent if pushed. Qian Hu gritted his teeth, pointed a finger at Chunmo and warned him. "He's only got until noon tomorrow, 12 o'clock sharp. If he can't come up with 150 yuan, they're breaking his legs and throwing his wife and kid out on the street." The 3 thugs took the cornmeal and iron pot, cursing as they stumbled out into the snow. It went silent again inside. The Weaking collapsed to the floor, clutching the precious coat, staring at Chunmo in fear. Even he was shocked by the way he smashed that door. He'd scared himself a bit. "Where are we gonna get that money tomorrow?" 150 yuan, we couldn't even afford rat poison now. Why did you agree to this? Trying to get me and our daughter killed? Chun-Mo didn't say a word. He set down the wrench, his hands still numb from the shock. He shoved the broken door aside and braced himself against the icy wind, striding out into the snow. Cold snow pellets slapped his face. Chun-Mo pulled his shabby jacket tighter, walking quickly toward the street corner.
His mind raced.
Less than 24 hours until noon tomorrow. There wasn't a penny in his pocket. Borrow money? No way. The old Chun was a deadbeat gambler, famous for being a loser. Only option now go back to his trade. But can't fix things without tools. Relying on memory. Chun-Mo hurried to the west side junkyard. The yard was piled with busted metal. The smell of engine oil was overwhelming. No random digging allowed. Or it's stealing. Chun-Mo ignored him. Heading straight to the old electronics pile, he squatted down, digging both hands right into the frozen scraps. Quickly searching, memories from his past life, as a chief engineer of a massive company, gave him a sharp eye. Under 5 minutes, he pulled a worn soldering iron out from the bottom of an old wire bin. He weighed it in his hand. The power cord was cut clean off, but the heating cord just had some surface rust left. The plug was nearby. Wires were cut that the heating core was intact. He understood what that meant. He tossed the soldering iron at his feet, kept searching. A few minutes later, he dug another item from between some cardboard boxes. An old-school analog multimeter. Its glass face had a crack, and the needle was stuck in the middle. Chun-Mo tapped it with his thumb twice. Listening to the sound, the needle was jammed, probably because of sticky oil or damp magnets. But the circuit board inside should be fine. Just these 2 items. Chun-Mo brought them to the bald boss, tossed them on the scale, and asked for the price. They're all broken. Selling as scrap. 50 cents. Chun-Mo took out his last 2 10-cent coins and slapped them on the table. The heating core might be useless, and the multimeter needles jammed. For scrap metal, they're worth just a few cents each. Not selling for 20 cents. I'll put them back then. The boss rolled his eyes, grabbed the cash and let him take it, left the scrap station. Chun-Mo headed straight for the bike repair booth at the alley entrance. Old Joe was squatting by the stove, warming his hands. No money to lend. You should go now. No cash, just want to use the stove to heat up my soldering iron. Need an inch of solder wire just for 10 minutes? What do you need solder for? Do you even know how to use it? Chun-Mo didn't bother answering. He pulled out a busted soldering iron and multimeter, tossed them on the table, quickly grabbed a rusty pair of wire pliers, snipped the broken power cord. The outer insulation was cut perfectly clean, exposed bright yellow copper wire. Not a bit extra, not a bit less. Not even the thinnest copper wire got damaged. Old Joe's eyes suddenly widened.
His hands hovered mid-air, forgetting to warm them.
That wire stripping technique. Even better than him, and he's been at this for 20 years. Chun-Mo kept working. Opened up the plug. Twisted copper tips crossed each other.
His fingers flew.
Tied them into a tight knot instantly. Plugged it right into the power strip nearby. While waiting for the solder iron to heat up, he picked up the old multimeter. No screwdriver. He just pulled off a small metal strip meant for patching tires from Joe. Wedged it into the screw groove. Twisted hard. 3 screws dropped to the floor. Opened the back cover. Chun-Mo didn't even glance at the complicated resistors. Eyes fixed on the meter head. The spring was stuck by some detached insulation. He carefully poked in a thin wire. Lightly pushed. The stuck needle bounced right back to 0. By now the soldering iron next to him was already smoking. Chun-Mo grabbed some solder wire. Pressed the iron tip into flux. White smoke rose instantly. Pressed the iron tip onto the soldering point on the circuit board. Fed solder wire with his other hand. Less than a second. Solder melted. Chun-Mo flicked his wrist. Pulled away fast. A perfect, shiny, silver, smooth solder point. Formed instantly. From wire stripping, fixing the meter, to soldering. The whole process was smooth like water flow. Exactly 10 minutes. Old Joe dropped his pipe on the ground. Sparks spilled all over his shoes.
His jaw practically hit the floor.
Stared at Chun-Mo, completely dumbfounded. Is this still the loser who only drinks and beats his wife? That soldering skill, troubleshooting speed, Even a level 8 master from a top state factory isn't much better than this. Did you really fix that junk tool? Chunmo ignored him, closed the back cover, tightened the screws, plugged in both test probes, stuck them right into the 220-volt outlet nearby. The red needle shot up steady as can be, stopped right at the 220 mark. Didn't move a bit. Chunmo pulled the plug, put the fixed tool in his pocket, walked out of the broken shed without looking back. With tools now in hand, he braved the wind and snow, and rushed straight to the housing compound behind the scrap station, getting ready to make his first batch of cash. Fixing the tools took just 10 minutes, but Chunmo was clear-headed. A broken soldering iron won't earn him money. Needs to find something really valuable. The recycling station on the east side piles up old appliances. Chunmo plunged into the pile of electronic waste. Broken TVs and busted fans stacked high. Suddenly he locked eyes on the corner. A big guy, covered in black mud. A red and silver double cassette player. The iconic logo jumps out. Seagull, that's a luxury brand that swept the country. The top wedding gift, 3 turns, 1 sound combo. Chunmo yanked out the tape player, popped open the battery bay on the back. Dirty water mixed with mud poured out everywhere. The mainboard was soaked. Old guy at the station yawned, glanced over, said the copper wires in that junk are all broken and ruined. Treat it as waste plastic. Gives him 2 dimes, tells him to take it. Chunmo had just bought a soldering iron, spent his last 2 dimes. He stayed calm, turned around. From the pile of scrap metal nearby, picked out 2 solid brass lock cylinders, pushed them along with the tape player in front of the old guy. These brass cylinders are pure. Can sell for 50 cents when melted down. Want to trade them for that rusty broken piece of junk. Old guy will pocket an extra 30 cents. He weighed the lock cylinders. They're substantial.
He waved, told him to take it.
Complained, saying it's just a rusty lump from dirty water. Who cares about that? Chunmo instantly tucked the heavy tape player under his arm. Went home, pushed open the drafty wooden door. His wife, the Weeking, was holding feverish duodwo, eyes red and teary. Saw Chunmo bringing back a muddy hunk. She was full of despair. Thought that useless loser was out picking trash again. Chunmo stayed silent. Slammed the tape player hard on the wobbly table and plugged in the soldering iron. No screwdriver for opening. Used half a metal strip instead. His moves were lightning fast. Unscrewed 6 big screws. Pried open the shell. The smell of dirty ditch water filled the air. The green mainboard was covered with white water stains and copper rust. The motor was jammed with mud. Looks dead to outsiders. But to a chief engineer from a billion-dollar group, this circuit was way simpler than a toy. Chunmo instantly mapped out his repair plan. Power circuit shorted. Capacitor near amp exploded. Head switch was jammed.
He grabbed the tip of the pliers.
Used it as a scraper and scraped the corroded copper trace hard. A sharp screech. Scraped off the insulation. Revealed the yellow brass underneath. Immediately grabbed the hot soldering iron. Flicked his wrist. Dropped the old solder on the ground. Found a thin copper wire on a junk board. Connected one end to the positive power. Other end straight to the filter capacitor. Jump wire done. Faced a rusty microswitch. Took out solder wire. Soldered both ends straight together on the back of the circuit board. Shorted successfully. Pulled off the exploded old capacitor with pliers. Picked one with similar capacity and put it in the solder pads. 1 stroke with the iron. Perfect solder. Done with the capacitor swap. Whole thing took under 20 minutes. Chunmo handled the iron like it had eyes. Not a single extra move. Closed the back cover. Tightened the screws. Wiped off the mud from the shell. Plugged it into the broken outlet. Pressed the power and play button. Red indicator light flashed instantly. Sharp-smelling motor started humming steadily. Tape spindle spun at a steady pace. Speaker let out a crisp electric sound. This Seagull tape deck, once sentenced dead, was fully revived. The Weeking on the bed was so shocked her jaw nearly hit the floor. This loser actually brought dead junk back to life. Chunmo unplugged it. Grabbed the tape deck. Rushed out into the wind and snow again. He's got 16 hours left to pay back the debt. Better cash it in quick. Night falls. The black market downtown is packed. Chunmo heads straight to the fat guy smoking in the corner. In his memories from video life, This fat ma specializes in secondhand electronics. Chun-mo asks if he's buying anything.
He slams the Seagull recorder hard onto a broken brick.
Fat ma's eyes go wide instantly. This thing is like hard cash. He shines a flashlight over it, says the condition isn't great, asks if it works. Chun-mo puts a test tape in the slot. He hits play. Teresa Tang's singing blasts out from the speakers. The audio is super clear. Fat Ma hears how steady the motor is. But on the surface, he acts tough. The case looks this beat up. Who knows how it was fixed inside? He offers 20 for it. Just trying his luck. Chun-mo smirks coldly. $20? That's for beggars. He hits stop, picks up the recorder and turns to leave. Fat Ma panics, grabs him quickly. With that condition, he could resell it to workers for at least 80. Chun-mo looks back, stares him down coldly, and asks if the guy knows his stuff. Says the original imported tape heads are polished clean. Dual channel amp, not a bit of noise. Steady power supply redone. Go look everywhere. Who would sell this for under 50? Fat Ma is stunned by all the technical terms. Thought he was just a cocky broke kid. Turns out he knows his stuff. Fat Ma changes his attitude immediately. Says 50, it is. Just to make friends. He pulls out 5 crisp 10 yuan bills. Hands them to Chun-mo. Chun-mo grips the 50 tightly. Back in 1990, $50 was 1.5 months' salary for a regular worker.
He stuffs the cash in his pocket.
His stomach roars like thunder.
He's starving.
Chun-mo glances at the brightly lit Boeing supply store nearby. He strides over. His stomach keeps growling with hunger. Chun-mo pushes aside the store's heavy wind curtain. A wave of soy sauce and sweaty smoke hits him. The plump lady behind the counter is knitting. Doesn't even look up. Chun-mo taps on the glass counter. Says he wants 2 pounds of pork. The lady glances at him, sees his ragged, muddy clothes. Immediately scowls and asks for meat tickets. No ticket, no pork. This late at night, only scraps are left. Chun-mo says toughly he doesn't have one. Says he'll pay market price. He pulls out a crisp 10 yuan note, slaps it on the counter. The lady's eyes go wide. Anyone paying $10 for pork these days is a big customer. She quickly puts aside her knitting, grins and says pork is 150 per pound. Asks which piece he wants. Chun-mo points at a thick slab of pork hanging nearby. He says he'll take 2 pounds of that whole fat piece. In the 90s, a whole bag of fatty pork was the hottest commodity around. You could render out a big jar of lard and eat for months. The lady quickly chops and wraps up 2 pounds of pork. She weighs it all out, calls it $3 for 2 pounds. Chun-mo also orders 10 pounds of premium flour, plus a brand new 5 yuan iron wok. The lady gasps. That flour is top quality. Everyone else is saving for cornbread most days. This guy buys 10 pounds in one go. She loads up a big sack full of flour, grabs a medium-sized iron wok. After paying, Chun-mo grabs his pork and wok, shoulders his flour, and heads to the pharmacy counter. Buys 2 sheets of the fastest-acting fever meds.
Carefully tucks his remaining $30 away.
Steps into the snowstorm again. It's already dark by the time he gets home. Chun-mo kicks open the drafty broken door. Inside, it's pitch black. The Waikin is curled up in a corner of the bed, clutching feverish Duadwo tightly. She's shaking in fear. Chun-mo says nothing. Fumbles in the dark, sets down the wok in the corner, tosses meat and flour onto the wobbly table, heads to the yard, chops wood, starts a fire in the mud stove. A glow lights up the room. Chun-mo puts the new wok on the stove, fills it with water and washes it clean. Grabs the kitchen knife, starts slicing up the thick, fatty pork, cuts it into hefty pieces, heats up the wok. No oil needed. Just tosses all the pork in. A loud sizzle explodes. The pork hits the hot wok, making it warp instantly. Lard just pours out. Hot golden oil pools at the bottom. Pork's surface browns nicely. Tempting bubbling sounds fill the air. Thick, meaty aroma mixed with roasted flavor blasts through the shantytown. It's just too irresistible. Neighbors eating porridge nearby are all drooling. Aunt Liu next door sniffs hard, then smacks her drooling kid, scolds him for staring, tells him to just eat his cornmeal porridge. The Waikin smells the pork from the bed. She freezes, stares blankly at the brand new wok and the pile of white flour. In the end, she just stares at Chunmo's face. Tears stream down her cheeks. She suddenly puts Duodwo down, runs to Chunmo barefoot, and grabs his hand holding the spatula. Her voice cracks. She demands what Chunmo did desperately. Did he rob someone? Did he steal? Supply store says he's crazy. In her eyes, this gambling addict can't afford pork and flour. Must have done something illegal. The Waikin bursts into tears. Says Tianhu is coming to collect rent tomorrow. He must have stolen or robbed. If the cops take him, how will she and Duodwo live? If he won't eat, he should turn himself in. She pounds hard on Chunmo's arm. Until he frowns. He grabs her wrist firmly. Pushes her down on a broken chair. Voice ice cold. Tells her sharply to shut up and sit down. The Waikin is stunned by his own stare. Doesn't dare move. Just sits there, smoking in despair. Chunmo can't be bothered to explain. He pours a big scoop of water into the wok. Steam rushes up. The broth turns milky white fast. While the pork boils,
He pours a glass of warm water.
breaks off half a tablet of fever meds. Walks to the bed. Gently puts the medicine in his daughter's mouth. After Duodwo takes it, the pork is perfectly tender. Chunmo fills a bowl with milky pork soup. Scoops out a few chunks of glistening fat meat. Heads back to the bed. Blows on it to cool, holds it to his daughter's lips, softly tells Duodwo to open up and eat. Duodwo, dull with fever, smells the pork, and instinctively opens her mouth and swallows. Her long-starved stomach finally gets some real food. Duodwo swallowed without even chewing. Her eyes lit up instantly. Calling Alpha Dad? Said it tasted great. She ate 3 pieces of meat and half a bowl of soup. A little sweat on her forehead, but her fever went down. Chunmo stayed quiet, then tucked her in. Then she scooped up a huge bowl of broth, slammed it right in front of the Weaking. Dropped just one word, eat. The Weaking bit her lip hard, tears streaming down, staring at the fatty meat, refusing to pick up her chopsticks. Chunmo sat down across from her, no nonsense. He reached in his pocket and took out the last 30 yuan. Put it straight on the table. Staring at him, Chunmo spoke slowly. He didn't steal, he didn't rob. Today he went to the scrapyard, spent 2 mao to get a broken soldering iron, fixed it, then traded junk copper for a water-damaged Seagull boombox, repaired it and sold it on the black market for 50 yuan. The Weaking was stunned, blankly stared at the cash on the table, fixed a boombox, made 50 bucks. This husband who can't even change a light bulb. How's that even possible? Chunmo ignored her shock, pushed the chopsticks into her hand, told her to eat. Said he made the money with his skills. Said she could have meat for every meal if she was with him. The Weaking gripped her chopsticks tight, stared at the man steady as a mountain. Finally broke down and sobbed. Hung her head and wolfed down the meat. Crying while eating. 6 a.m. It was just barely light out. Chunmo quietly got up. The Weaking was still sound asleep, hugging their daughter. Tears still visible at the corners of her eyes. Chunmo felt his pocket. Barely 30 yuan left, nowhere near enough for Qianhu. He needed 150, interest and all. That little bit wouldn't even tempt a loan shark. He put on his patched-up old coat, took his soldering iron and multimeter, faced the cold morning wind and headed to the black market. Just reached the alley entrance. Saw Director Fatty Ma squatting beside a worn sack, gnawing on a meat bun. Chunmo got straight to the point. Asked how many fancy broken items he had. Told him to bring them all out. That seagull from last night was resold for 80. Huge profit. Chunmo cut him off right away. Said he needed cash now. Wanted 120. Told Fatty Ma to dump all his junk on him.
He'd fix everything by noon.
Every machine he repaired would bring in money. Deal or no deal, deal. As long as you can fix them, money's not an issue.
He hurriedly ripped open the sack.
Took out 4 dust-covered boomboxes. And a super rare import, Panasonic Walkman. Chunmo didn't even hesitate. Found a smooth brick at the alley entrance as a work table. Borrowed an outlet from the fried dough stand to power up. Next 3 hours. Fatty Ma's jaw almost hit the ground. Chunmo didn't need a schematic to fix anything. Didn't even pause to think. Cracked them open, checked voltage with the meter, found the break. Bridged wires, swapped diodes. Moved so fast his hands blurred. That Walkman even the master repairman checked for days and gave up on. The imported Walkman. Chunmo just listened for a sec. Heard the motor spinning free. Immediately called it worn-out main belt and a broken head ribbon cable. He quickly found a thick rubber band and slipped it on the spindle. A touch with the soldering iron resoldered the ribbon. Took less than 10 minutes total. Walkman powered right up. Crisp music played from the speakers. Fatty Ma was so pumped he kept rubbing his hands. Kept saying it was amazing. 11:30 a.m. All 5 machines were lit up. Pop tunes blasting from the speakers. Chunmo tossed down the soldering iron. Rubbed his frozen fingers. Reached out for Fatty Ma to pay 120. Fatty Ma didn't hesitate. Counted out 12 big 100 yuan bills from a fat stack. Respectfully handed them over to Chunmo. Said he'd give Chunmo all his repair jobs from now on. Chunmo rolled up the money and tucked it away. Unplugged the cord. Packed up his tools. Took off running back home. Exactly noon. The rickety wooden door of Chunmo's house was kicked hard, flying open. The Wiking was helping Duoduo get dressed. She screamed in shock, held Duoduo tightly. Qianhu barged in, wrapped in an army coat. Behind him, 4 tough guys with mean faces, shouting that time was up, yelling for Chunmo to show himself. Cigarette dangling from his mouth. Kicked over the crooked table. Smashed the bowl to pieces. The Wiking was shaking like a leaf, cowered in the corner of the bed. Begged Qianhu for 2 more days. Said they really had no money. Qianhu smelled lard in the air. Furious. Yelled at them for eating meat and not paying back their debt. 2 of the thugs lunged at the bed, reaching to grab the Wiking's hair. The Wiking broke down screaming, telling them to stop. Right then, in the nick of time, a dark figure burst through the door. Chunmo ran in and saw the scene. All his past life's composure replaced by raw rage. He strode forward, grabbed the thug's wrist, reaching for the Wiking, thumb pinning the pressure point perfectly. Twisted down hard. The thug howled in pain, dropped to his knees instantly. Wrist twisted at a weird angle. Chunmo didn't stop. Kicked the thug hard in the chest. All 180 pounds of him flew back, crashing into the corner. Qianhu was startled, then exploded in anger. Yelled for the other 3 to charge. Chunmo barked, told them all to freeze. His voice shook dust off the roof.
He marched up to Qianhu.
Eyes cold as ice. Not scared at all. He quickly reached into his coat, pulled out a fat stack. 10 yuan notes. Swung his arm full force. Slammed the money like a brick. Interest included. Right in Qianhu's fat face. A loud sharp slap echoed. Cash scattered everywhere. Qianhu's head whipped to the side. He and his men were left speechless. They couldn't believe it. Not only did he fight back, he actually threw money in their faces. Chunmo pointed at the bills scattered all around. Voice cold as ice. Count the cash. 150, interest included. Not a cent short. Qianhu covered his swollen face. Stared at the new bills on the floor. His arrogance melted fast under the money slap. Clumsily squatted to pick up the cash. Counted fast with spit-covered fingers. 15 bills, exactly 150. Chunmo looked down at him. Asked, "Is it enough?" Qianhu stammered, "Yeah, it's enough." Chunmo stepped even closer. Locked eyes with him. Said the debt is paid off. Tell Qianhu to listen up. From now on, keep his dog away from his wife and kid. If he dares set foot in this yard again, he promises Qianhu will never walk again. Qianhu swallows hard. Doesn't dare make a peep. With a wave, he and some tough guys squeeze out the door, embarrassed. They just run off, like they're running for their lives. The house goes quiet again. Only the sound of the cold wind blowing in. The Wiking hugs Duoduo tightly. Curling up in the corner of the bed, she stares blankly at Chunmo's broad back. Her eyes are totally different now. That guy who just drank and hit people. The coward hiding under the bed in the bathroom. Actually fought back for her and their daughter. And chased off the thugs. He really paid 150 yuan to settle it. Chunmo turns around. Doesn't bother to explain how he made money all morning. He walks over and sets the broken table upright. Calmly says the debt is paid off. No one will dare come for the house again. The Wakin opens her mouth. Tears well up again. But this time, it's from a strange sense of security. Chunmo walks to the broken window, looking at the snow falling in the rundown courtyard.
He knows clearly.
Even though he earned over 100 today with his skills, It solved an urgent problem, but its small change, fixing tape recorders and junk, is barely enough to buy meat. There's no real future in it. Chunmo's eyes look through the wind and snow, focusing on the outline of the downtown department store. Early 1990s. What's the most expensive thing? What really gives you status? What can make you famous overnight? There's only one answer: color TV. In 1990, an 18-inch Beidou color TV was 1,800 yuan at the department store. Money alone wasn't enough. You also needed a rare TV voucher. Regular families could save for years, and still might not bring one home. Whoever has a color TV is the focus of the whole street. Even the factory director has to show respect. Chunmo only thinks, can't afford it. Then I'll build one myself. He doesn't hesitate, grabs his old sack, takes a soldering iron and multimeter, and strides out the door. The West Side Recycling Center is tiny. All the good stuff is picked over early. Chunmo faces the freezing wind, walks 7 or 8 miles, and makes it to the heavy machinery plant's scrapyard in the suburbs. This place is huge. Mountains of industrial junk everywhere. Chunmo steps through the mud, his eyes scanning everywhere like radar. Big parts are hard to collect. The core of a color TV, picture tube, flyback, motherboard. After over 2 hours, he suddenly stops at the edge of a trash pit. Half a black glass tube sticking out. Chunmo strides over, digs it out with his hands, and yanks the thing out. It's an 18-inch color TV screen. The safety glass is covered in mud, guntail wrapped with yellowed tape, clearly dumped as broken glass. An old man nearby yells over, says that broken tube leaked air. The gun is broken off. Even the glass factory doesn't want it. Tells him not to waste his time. Chunmo ignores him. He kneels in the snow, carefully wipes it with a rag. He knows every bit of the structure, eyes closed. He can tell if it's good without power. He holds out his finger, taps the tube 3 times with a rhythm. The sound is crisp and clear, with a unique tension, a smirk on Chunmo's lips. A dull sound means a leak. But this sound is super crisp, so the vacuum is solid. Definitely no leak. The getter is still shiny silver, not white, the tube's still alive. Chunmo casually asks the old man how much for the tube. Says he'll use it to press down the sauerkraut jar. The old man doesn't even look up. Says take it for 2 yuan. Doesn't want it taking space. Chunmo tosses 2 yuan onto the iron barrel. Very carefully puts the heavy picture tube into his old sack. Now he has the core. Needs power next. Chunmo heads to the electronics scrap area. Starts digging through black ash with bare hands. Quickly finds a black block with thick red wires. And a rubber suction cup. The flyback, the heart of a color TV. It helps power up with thousands of volts. There's blackened glue marks. Signs of short and fire. Most repairmen would throw it away. Chunmo takes out his multimeter. Jams the leads into the base. Thumb quickly runs a few tests. Primary, 0.5 ohms. Secondary, 800 ohms. Chunmo's eyes light up. The winding is normal. The insulation is fine. The surface just scorched. It's just blackened by a blown capacitor next to it. Good stuff. Flyback goes in the sack. All afternoon after that.
He digs in the mud.
Gets 3 broken boards with green hairs from old TVs. He doesn't need the whole board, just the decoder chips. If transformers and audio modules. Then picks out a rusty tuner. Cuts off a bunch of resistors, caps, and dead yokes. All these prime parts. The yard owner only charges 1.5 yuan. It's totally dark by evening. Snow and wind picking up. Chunmo carries a heavy 70 to 80 jin sack home, trudging step by step. Just entering the yard, Aunt Liu next door sees him all muddy and hauling a beat-up sack. She sneers right away, mocks him, saying Chunmo just had pork last night. Now he's back to picking through junk. She thought he struck it rich. Turns out all he did was drive off Qianhu and plans to pick junk his whole life. Chunmo doesn't even look their way. Can't be bothered with these snobs. Carries the sack straight inside. Slams the wooden door shut. The Waikin is feeding Duatwo porridge. Gets startled. Asks why he brought home so much scrap. She quickly reaches for the sack. Chunmo cuts her off firmly. Tells her not to touch it. The neck of the tube is super fragile. One bump and it's ruined. Chunmo very carefully puts down the sack. Lays everything out on the wobbly table. Muddy tube, scorched flyback. green fuzzy boards, a table full of mold and greased to the Weiken. It's absolute trash. But as Chan Mo looks at the pile, his eyes burn with excitement.
He rips off his soaked old coat.
Bare-chested, slaps the repaired soldering iron on the table, jams the plug into a broken outlet. White smoke rises from the tip. With this pile of junk and the soldering iron, he'll take on the top luxury color TV of the 90s. Chan Mo turned to look at the Weeking, told him not to sleep too soundly tonight. First thing in the morning, he'll show them something amazing. It was late at night, and the wind and snow howled outside. The Weeking cuddled with Duodwo sound asleep. Chan Mo dragged over the wobbly wooden table what he gathered during the day.
He dumped a big pile of junk all over the table.
Time to build a color TV. The hardest part is getting all these different kinds of scrap parts to work together. That's what you call a DIY build. Senior techs at big state-owned factories in the 90s wouldn't dare touch this without schematics or a pattern generator. But for Chief Engineer Chen Mo from Kian Corporation, it's no big deal. He picked up 2 broken, rusted circuit boards, old and covered in green mold. Both power and signal lines were totally cut off. He pulled out a handful of thin copper wires with pliers. When the iron tip hit the rosin, smoke rose up. Chan Mo didn't use any schematics. The circuits in his mind were clearer than his own palm. Time for some jump wiring. Next, Su Tong plugged in the 110-volt power system. 4 decoders in a row. His hands moved so fast, they turned into a blur. Every dab of the soldering iron landed a perfect round solder joint. In just half an hour, he'd wired over 100 tangled lines. Somehow, he stitched the 2 cracked junk boards into a metallic spider web. Motherboards running. Now the flyback transformer. Chan Mo snapped the charred transformer into place. He flooded all 5 contacts with solder, plugged the prongs into a busted-out power socket, powered it up, tested the open circuit voltage. For TV builds, line frequency and voltage are always tricky. Tens of thousands of volts can blow tubes in a split second. Regular techs have to use an oscilloscope and tweak little by little. But all Chan Mo had was a beat-up multimeter, no oscilloscope. He totally relied on voltage readings and the hum of the current. Black lead on ground, red on the output terminal. The needle jumped to 115 volts instantly, solid as a rock. Then he fine-tuned the scan rate. Chan Mo took out a flathead screwdriver, twisted the tiny scan rate potentiometer. He leaned over the table, his ears super close to the powered board. The transformer sent out a high-pitched whine that made his teeth ache. The standard frequency was 15,625 Hz. Chan Mo closed his eyes and saw. The auditory memory in the temperature-controlled lab snapped awake. The sound was too sharp. The frequency was too high. The picture would tear. He held the screwdriver, turned it counterclockwise less than 1 millimeter super slowly. The current noise instantly dropped a bit. Not enough, dial back half a notch. Turned it a little more. The annoying static suddenly vanished. In its place was an ultra-smooth, steady high-frequency vibration. The frequency was fully locked in. The circuit part was totally done. Pulled out the plug, assembled the picture tube. No casing, so he grabbed some scrap wood from the yard. Made a super rough square wooden frame. Stuck the 18-inch glass picture tube in, big end facing out. Slipped on the rusty deflection coil. Tightened the screws. Finally attached the high-voltage cap. He grabbed a rag. Wiped the deep pit on top of the picture tube spotless. That spot handles 20,000 volts of high voltage. Even a little dust could cause an explosion. He held the red wire, pressed the rubber cap firmly into the pit, locked it in tight. Assembly for the terminals was done. A pile of junk metal on the table. He forced it all together with wood frames and hundreds of wires, and pieced together a super hardcore wooden color TV. The sky was just turning light. He silently took a deep breath, firmly pressed the exposed power switch. A clear sound of high-voltage static snapped. It exploded in the room. Strong static electricity. Straight up made the hair on Chun Mo's arm stand up from being attracted. Then, deep inside the dirty glass screen, a sudden flash of white light. No explosion, no black screen. A second later, white light filled the screen, along with loud static noise. The big 18-inch color TV lit up in the shabby house. Super dazzling snow screen. Chun Mo's tense cheeks relaxed. He grinned. Got a picture now. Chun Mo yanked off a thick piece of iron wire from the clothesline, bent it with pliers, stuck it straight into the tuner socket. The other end slapped onto the rusty window frame. Used as an antenna, twisted the channel knob, turned it slowly, watching the screen. The snow rolled wildly. Then suddenly a human figure flashed on. Chun Mo held his fingers steady. Did some super precise fine-tuning. Half a millimeter and the snow vanished instantly. The picture was crystal clear, red and blue backgrounds in the studio. The male anchor looked extremely vibrant. No ghosting at all. The big speaker pumped out strong, standard speech. It was the morning news. The sound was booming. The broken water glass on the table vibrated loudly, brighter than the original ones at the department store. The huge TV sound echoed through the house. The Viking on the bed was woken up. She opened her eyes, confused, suddenly dazzled by the brightness, turned his head in a daze, saw the big glass screen in the middle of the wooden frame, playing a color TV show, people moving inside, talking. The Viking's eyes widened hugely, stopped breathing for a second.
He bit his hand hard.
Afraid he'd shout out loud, looked at the TV, then looked at Chun Mo, dirty and bare-chested. Yesterday, the smelly junk metal and glass, after one night, had turned into a talkative color TV. Not even in wildest dreams would he believe it. Chun Mo blew out a smoke ring, pointed at the hard case assembly. This is something worth 1,800 yuan.
He built it out of junk costing just 2 yuan overnight.
Duodwo also rubbed her eyes and sat up, jumped out excitedly from the covers, yelled for Mom. Come look, there are tiny people in there. TV court had awful soundproofing. Chun Lo cranked up the volume to test the semitone, made the broadcast super loud. The booming news voice pierced brick walls, blasted through the quiet neighborhood. Old Lady Liu next door came out with her chamber pot. Heard the noise.
Paused.
Almost dropped the chamber pot. Muttered about seeing a ghost. How does Chun Mo have TV sound in his house? And it's CCTV. She stared with old eyes, looking at the broken door like she'd seen a ghost. No one in the whole compound could even afford a 9-inch black and white TV. She forgot all about the chamber pot, shouted toward the front yard, told neighbors to come listen. Chun Mo, the gambling addict, got a TV blaring inside. Chun Mo ignored old Lady Liu's yelling outside, closed the drafty wooden door tight, unplugged the TV.
He didn't want to turn on the TV early and have a crowd.
The inside was full of exposed high-voltage wires. If the neighbors barged in, touched the high-voltage block, 20,000 volts could kill someone instantly. Chun Mo spent the whole day, prepared junk wood planks and insulating tape, locked the tube and motherboard into the thick wood frame, fully insulated the high-voltage wires and power. At dusk, the sky darkened. The machinery factory workers got off work. Everyone started cooking. Old Lady Liu's morning shout had spread across the yard, but nobody believed it. A gambling addict who even lost his pots. How could he buy a TV? Chun Mo opened the door, said nothing, dragged the 40-pound, 18-inch wood-cased TV out to the broken stone table in the yard's center, pulled out the long power cord, plugged it in the public socket, hung the iron wire antenna right onto the highest branch of the old Chinese scholar tree. That scene immediately drew all neighbors doing chores. Old Lady Liu crowded over with her rice bowl to look. Asked Chun Mo why he brought out the wooden box. Wonder what the dark glass was. Chun Mo didn't look at her. Just pressed the power switch. A heavy, steady demagnetizing sound rang out. Then, blinding white light shone from the dirty glass screen. A second later, a super powerful, deafening Cantonese song with rapid drum beats blasted straight out the big speaker. The static vanished instantly from the screen. A guy with a braid, wearing a long gown, martial arts expert, struck his pose. The image was ultra clear. The most shocking part, it was in color. Green gown, red brick background. Skin tones vibrantly stunning everyone. And this was 1990. Hardly anyone in town even watched black and white TV, let alone such a big color TV. Old Lady Liu's rice bowl crashed to the ground, shattered into 8 pieces, but she didn't notice. Her old eyes almost popped out, staring at the boxer on screen. Exclaimed it was in color. The people inside were in color. The whole compound exploded instantly. Front yard, backyard, cooking, scolding kids. Everyone rushed to the middle yard like crazy. In less than 3 minutes, Chunmo's doorway was packed 3 layers deep, dozens of eyes staring, all locking onto the wooden TV. No one dared to even breathe loudly. Neighbors whispering, asking if Chunmo bought it. Must be over 1,000 yuan, right? Someone argued, saying it didn't even have a plastic casing. This was put together with junk. Someone immediately shouted that junk could be turned into a color TV. That's amazing. The neighbors who used to look down on Chunmo's family now all look at him differently. Their disdain is gone. All that's left is shock and respect. A guy who can build a big color TV barehanded has to be some hidden tech genius. Just then, there was a commotion on the edge of the crowd. A woman wearing a wool coat, with permed hair squeezed in. It's Sun Shulan, the wife of the bright machinery factory manager. She usually looks down on these poor workers, but now, she stared at the colorful TV on the stone table, her eyes shining like spotlights. Her factory manager husband pulled strings for half a month just to get a TV. But what he got was a 14-inch black and white TV. It can't compare to this 18-inch color TV. Sun Shulan instantly switched on a warm smile. She took out white rabbit candies and caramel sunflower seeds. She went straight to the Weeking, smiling brightly. She called the Weeking little sister, sighed she always knew she was lucky, praised Chunmo's skills, said no one else can do it in this place. She grabbed the Weeking's hand, gave her all the candy and nuts. Her face was full of wrinkles from smiling, sighed, let Duaduo try some, invited them to come watch TV every night. Don't be annoyed. The Weeking froze. Last year, when Duaduo was sick, she went to the factory manager's house to borrow 10 yuan. Sun Shulan let the dog out and called her a pauper. Now this one snobby factory manager's wife is calling her sis with a smile. The Weeking's eyes instantly turned red. She knew all this friendliness was because of her. Man, Chunmo shot Sun Shulan a cold glance. He didn't respond at all. She turned and went inside, took out 2 sturdy wooden chairs with backs, set them right in front of the screen. Best view in the house. Aunt Liu saw this, smiling full of wrinkles, and rushed over to sit down. She said Chunmo is so thoughtful. Even brought chairs for the elders. Chunmo replied harshly, telling her to get out of the way. He kicked Aunt Liu's shoe, pushed her aside. Everyone in the yard stared in shock. Chunmo walked over to the Weeking, grabbed her arm, and made her sit in the center chair, put Duaduo on the chair next to her. Chunmo scanned the crowd coldly, at the opportunistic neighbors, and the factory manager's wife looking awkward. He told everyone they could watch TV, but if anyone blocks their view, he'll throw them out. The whole place went silent. Everyone stepped back obediently, left the prime spots open, stood behind the Weeking, craning their necks to watch. The Weeking heard the crowd breathing behind her, and looked at the clear color screen. Tears burst from her eyes. She sat up straight. The kung fu drama on TV was at a thrilling fight scene. The yard was totally quiet. Everyone was hooked. Just as the atmosphere hit its peak, a loud official shouting came from the gate, breaking the silence. Someone yelled for everyone to move aside. Asked who put dangerous contraband here. The crowd was rudely pushed apart. A man in a blue work uniform, with a pen in his pocket, and reading glasses strode in. 2 apprentices from the state repair shop followed him. He is from the nearby state-owned repair shop, Zangoyang Street, the only grade 8 machinist and senior radio technician in the district. Usually there's a wait just to get a radio fixed. He looks down on everyone. He just heard from his apprentice. Someone in the shantytown had assembled a big color TV from junk. He got angry right away. This kind of crossing model assembly is a TV. Even the chief wouldn't bet on it, that a gambler could build this. It's a total fake, or a bomb waiting to explode. Zhang stared at the wooden TV, and a salvaged chassis, he sneered, and pointed at Chunmo's face. Do you all want to die? He roared. The CRT high voltage pack starts at over 20,000 volts. It doesn't even have a case, just nailed to some scrap wood. One short circuit and bang. The shards of flying glass will rip everyone's guts open. At those words, the neighbors watching the show scattered in an instant. Auntie Liu backed away in fear, falling flat on her butt. She cursed Chunmo for the bomb. The director's wife turned pale, hiding and calling him wicked. You're money mad. The Viking panicked. Chunmo, she trembled, asking him to just unplug it. Chunmo didn't move. He didn't even look up. He told the frantic Zhang, quiet. Zhang boiled over. He threatened the amateur, saying he'd report him right now for endangering the public. Chunmo told him to shut it. Look closer before you bark. He stepped forward, jerked out the plug, grabbed the wooden frame, and spun it around, showing the back to everyone. Zhang sneered again, pulled out a military flashlight, clicked the switch, and aimed the beam at the board. He wanted to find a fatal flaw, to expose Chunmo publicly. But as the light hit the board, Zhang's sneer froze instantly.
He lunged forward.
Ignoring the static shock, his whole face was pressed against the old board. It wasn't a mess of wires. The wiring showed a terrifying industrial beauty. Hundreds of jumper wires were lined up like a drill team. Every bend was a perfect 90 degrees. The solder was seamless, wrapped in triple-layer insulation. Looking at the joints, Zhang's hands began to shake. In 30 years of repairs, he'd never seen work this clean. Every joint was smooth and full, like tiny silver beans, with no burrs and no weak spots. This perfect wiring and soldering left him completely floored. Zhang gasped in shock, shouting like he saw a ghost. No oscilloscope for the tuner? How is it so precise? And this voltage regulator, replaced by old diodes? How is this possible? The experts saw the skill. The neighbors didn't get it, but they had eyes. The once arrogant Master Zhang was now like a schoolboy, hunched over with his light, trembling over scrap metal. Auntie Liu asked bravely, will it really explode? Zhang snapped his head back. It won't, he roared. He said the insulation was better than the imports, and 10 times safer. This craft is unmatched. The yard went silent. San Shulan's jaw dropped. Zhang's ego was gone. He grabbed Chunmo's hand, begging fanatically. He asked where he learned this. Even the chief engineer couldn't pull this off. He begged Chunmo to join his shop. 100 a month, no, 200. Just give us some pointers. The neighbors were stunned. 200! The director only makes 70. Zhang had lost his mind. The Viking covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. Her man had finally made it. Chunmo pulled his hand away, turned the TV back, and plugged it back in. The screen lit up again. He refused, not interested. I fix things when I feel like it. A former billion-dollar chief, working at a tiny repair shop? You've got to be joking. Zhang slapped his thigh in despair, begging him to reconsider. A loud voice came from the back, telling Zhang to give it a rest. With skills like those, would he care about your 200? In a Mao suit, and carrying a briefcase, a middle-aged man pushed through. It was Officer Yang from Logistics, a well-known wealthy middleman. Yang walked to the TV. He ignored the wooden frame, staring only at the vivid colors and Zhang's expert appraisal. Yang asked Chunmo directly, is this TV for sale? My brother-in-law is marrying. The bride wants a color TV. I have the cash, but I can't get the voucher. Name your price. Hearing there was a buyer, the Viking stood up nervously. Chunmo glanced at her. Building this TV was for his first pot of gold. He held up 2 fingers. 800. Not a penny less. The neighbors all gasped. 800 for a scrap wood TV? That's highway robbery. But Zhang nodded nearby. 800 is a steal. This tube is top-notch. Better than the Beidou brand. It's a bargain for Yang. Yang didn't hesitate. 800 won't even buy a black and white, but it buys an 18-inch color set. I'll just get a nice cabinet for it. It'll look great. He closed the deal on the spot. Yang opened his black briefcase. Under dozens of jealous eyes,
He pulled out a thick wad of bills.
he licked his fingers and counted. Exactly 80 large notes. He slammed the 800 on the table and called men to carry the TV. Careful, don't bump it. 2 young men rushed up and carefully carried it away. Chunmo stood by the table, looking at the stack of cash. The Viking walked over, staring at the money, her lips trembling. Chunmo stuffed it in her hand, gripped her shoulder firmly, and looked at her faded, patched up old clothes. He spoke loudly, making sure everyone heard.
Take tomorrow off, Weeking.
We're going to town to spend it. Early the next morning, Wei Ching, the couldn't get her day off approved. Factory supervisor Gao from the second workshop was really snobbish. He always took out his anger on Wei Ching Li. Today, he refused to approve her leave no matter what. He threatened to dock half a month's pay for skipping work. Wei Ching the cared about her money. Her eyes were red. She gave Chun Mo back all 800 yuan, untouched. Wearing her patched old jacket, she went to work with her head down. Chun Mo watched her thin figure. His eyes turned completely cold. He didn't stop her. He put the whole 800 yuan in his pocket. He grabbed little Duo, who was rubbing her eyes, and marched out of the housing complex. With the money in hand, today he wanted to pay back everything he owed this woman. With interest, all at once. Downtown's no one department store. The biggest mall in the city, they only sold high-end stuff. Chun Mo headed straight to the second floor's bike section with Duo. Right in the center sat a shiny jet black bike. This big, gleaming beast was coated in glossy paint. A Phoenix brand 28-inch Land Cruiser from the early 90s. Chun Mo tapped on the glass counter, asked how much the Phoenix cost. The young sales clerk glanced at Chun Mo's faded old clothes, rolled his eyes and said the Phoenix 28 heavy-duty model was 180 yuan plus an industrial coupon. No coupon, no sale. He told Chun Mo to hurry up and leave, saying he couldn't pay for any scratches. Back then, big-ticket items needed an industrial coupon. Average workers could save for 3 years and still not have one. Chun Mo didn't say a word. He turned and found a ticket scalper nearby, bought a coupon on the spot for 30 yuan, walked back to the counter, unzipped his bag, laid out 21 crisp bills along with the coupon, smacked them onto the glass counter with a loud thud. The sales clerk jolted at the sight. Chun Mo stared him down. His voice was cold. He commanded without any room for argument, told him to pump up the tires. The clerk glanced at the thick wad of cash. Eyes widened. That arrogant face vanished instantly.
He bowed nearly 90 degrees.
Rushed to bring him a brand new bike.
10 minutes later.
Chun Mo rolled out with the apartment's first Phoenix 28 bike. Out of the department store. The black paint gleamed in the sun. Thick steel tubes gave it sturdy feel. The big brass bell rang crisp and loud. Heard across half the street. Duo hugged the handlebars, excited. The red flower was safely placed up front by Chun Mo. He didn't hurry to leave yet. Instead parked the bike and went to the clothing section downstairs. He never wanted Wei Qingde to wear that patched-up outfit again. Not even for another day. He went to the priciest ready-made clothes section and instantly picked the one hanging on the top. A bright red shirt collar, made with detailed pleats, real Dacron, in 1990. This crisp, wrinkle-free, vibrant Dacron was the trendiest, most coveted stuff by all women. Chun Mo pointed at the price tag, 35 yuan, equal to a worker's monthly salary. Didn't even blink. Paid with crisp bills again. Also grabbed a thick wool coat and brand new black low-heeled leather shoes. He got Duo a set too. Pink cotton coat and tiny red leather shoes. He hung all the big shopping bags on the handlebar. Told Duo to hold tight. Saw Dad was taking her to pick up Mama after work. Chun Mo hopped on the Phoenix 28 and pushed hard on the wide pedal. Wheels roll over the asphalt road. The chain makes a super smooth sound. 5:30 p.m. The end of work broadcast echoes through the Guangming machinery factory. Hundreds of workers push old bikes out the gate. The Viking walks at the back. Today, Director Gao made things hard for her on purpose. She did the toughest hauling work. Her shoulder got marks from carrying. The cuff of her old coat ripped wide open again. Several female workers gathered around. They sarcastically asked the Waken. Her family stays quiet. Didn't you strike it rich yesterday? Why are you still wearing rags to work today? They mock her, saying she made 800 selling TVs. Bet that old gambling addict blew it all again. Director Gao walks over with hands behind his back and snorts at the Viken. Stop using family problems as an excuse to take leave. Mocks that if her useless man was reliable, even pigs could climb trees. The Viking keeps her head down and bites her lip hard. Her eyes are red, too scared to talk back. Afraid to lose this 30 yuan job. Just as the women laugh the hardest, a sharp, bold bike bell rings out. Breaking through the noise at the factory gate, everyone instinctively looks back. Across the street, a tall, striking man is riding a brand new, shiny Phoenix bike. He stops steadily at the gate. The handlebars are loaded with fancy shopping bags. The mocking laugh stops suddenly, like cut off by a knife. Director Gao's eyes go wide. A few women's jaws almost hit the ground. That's Chan Mo, famous loser of the whole factory. He's riding a bike even the boss has to wait to buy. Shiny new 28-inch bike. Stopping loudly right at the gate, Chan Mo balances with one foot on the ground. He looks at the Weiken, her head down, exhausted. His brows furrow deeply. He gets fired up. His voice is loud and clear. He calls the Weiken over, louder than the factory speakers. The Weiken tenses up. She lifts her head, stares at Chun Mo with surprise and excitement. Duadwo waves. Duadwo excitedly calls, "Mom!" Says Dad bought a big bike. And new clothes too. The Weiken's tears burst out. Can't believe it. Chun Mo actually bought the first bike in the whole compound. Chun Mo pushes through the crowd with the bike. He walks up to the Weiken, kicks hard. The stand slams onto the cement. He doesn't hold back.
He grabs the bags off.
Rips open the packaging in front of hundreds. Bright, vivid red, instantly grabbing everyone's eyes. Trendy polyester shirt and thick wool coat. He shakes them out. Chun Mo sounds super confident. He throws the new clothes over the Weiken's shoulders. Tells her to ditch the patched old outfit.
His woman.
From today, wears only the best. The women who mocked her now have bloodshot eyes. The city's priciest polyester. They saved up for months but wouldn't buy. Chan Mo just tosses it over the Weiken without a care. The Weiken's face turns bright red. Fumbling, she changes her outfit. They say clothes make the man. Her pretty face instantly becomes radiant. Her vibe totally changes. She's nothing like the timid woman from before. Director Gao swallows hard. His face goes pale. Can't get a word out. Chan Mo gives them a cold look. He stares, like looking at trash. Tells the Weiken to get on. Chan Mo hops onto the shiny Phoenix bike.
He pats the cushion on the back.
The Weiken, face red, climbs on sideways. Hugs his broad, solid waist tight. Chan Mo pushes hard. The bell rings out again. As hundreds look on in shock and jealousy. The new bike rolls over the snow and speeds away. Wind lifts the red coat tail. The Weiken presses her face to Chan Mo's back. She leaves with tears of pure happiness. The big bike rides straight into the shantytown. The clear bell draws out everyone from their homes. Aunt Liu rushes out holding her bowl. Her chopsticks drop to the ground. She gasps, "That's a Phoenix bike." And it's brand new. Everyone in the compound watches the way. Chin, in her super bright polyester, sitting proudly on the back seat. Jealous eyes nearly popping out. TV yesterday. Big bike today. Chan Mo really made a comeback. Chan Mo parks in front of their rundown house. Helps his wife and daughter off. Pulls out the last few hundred yuan from his pocket. Along with a paper stamped with a red seal. Slaps them firmly into the Weiken's hand. He speaks loudly. On purpose, so everyone hears. Says they're done renting this dump. He took over a storefront at the street corner today. Tomorrow, the Weiken quits work to be his boss lady. Early the next morning. Director's office, second workshop, Guangming Machinery Factory. Snobby director Gao holds a chipped enamel mug, drinking foamy tea. The door bursts open. The Weiken strides in. Today, she's not wearing the patched blue work uniform. She's in the red wool coat Chan Mo bought yesterday, and a crisp polyester shirt, black leather shoes, standing tall and straight. Totally different energy from yesterday's pushover. Director Gao almost spits out his tea. He rolls his eyes wildly, mocks the Weiken for dressing up so bright red. Thinks she's the factory boss's wife now. Says her attendance bonus is gone for skipping work yesterday. Today, move 50 boxes of iron fittings. Don't even think about leaving if you don't finish. The Weiken says nothing. Walks straight to the desk. Pulls out her plastic work badge, used for 3 years. She swings her arm. Slams the badge right by Director Gao's wash basin. Her words are extra clear. Fine, she's done here. Director Gao is stunned.
His mug shakes.
Tea spills all down his pants. He jumps up. Points at the Weiken's nose and cusses her out. Says this is a state-owned iron rice bowl. A woman quitting, going broke. says her loser husband buys a bike and she thinks she's something. Once she leaves, even begging won't get her back. The Wykin shoots him a cold look. She's endured enough disrespect under his snobby rule for 3 years. Today she finally stands up for herself. She walks out, red coat swinging. Says no need. Her husband took over a big shop downtown. She'd be his boss lady. Turns and leaves without looking back. Strides out of the office. Slams the door shut behind her. Outside the factory gate, Chun Mo sits on the shiny Phoenix bike, smoking. Sees the Wykin walk out with her head held high. Looking totally relaxed and happy, he smiles at the corner of his mouth, stomps out his cigarette. Leave and head to their shop. Chun Mo powers up his legs. The Phoenix bike rings its bell, shooting onto the road. Chun Mo never settles for small plans. He used the TV money and rented a prime spot at the busiest intersection on Jianxi Road downtown. Took over a great location, but a nearly bankrupt watch repair shop. The Wyking jumps out of the car, looking at the over 30 square meter, spacious storefront with 2 big glass windows. So excited, rubbing her hands together. Such a huge storefront. How much is the monthly rent? 300 a month, signed for a year. He unlocks the rolling door, pulls it up. Inside is empty and covered in dust. We have to open for business today. The couple and Duaduo spent all morning cleaning the shop spotlessly. The cement floor shines like a mirror.
Next.
He opens a big bag of tools bought from the black market yesterday. Soldering iron, multimeter, screwdriver, wire cutters. All lined up perfectly on the workbench. He nailed a whole wall of parts bins with scrap wood in the corner. Each type sorted neatly, filled with resistors, capacitors, diodes, and salvaged chips. The whole workbench has a cold, professional, industrial vibe. 1 p.m. Chun Mo hefts a 2-meter-long, huge wooden sign painted red. Climbs a ladder. Nails it right above the entrance, loud and eye-catching. The Wyking looks up at the 4 big yellow characters. The bold, impressive Moje Appliances sign. Chun Mo jumps off the ladder, takes out a 1-meter-high blackboard, quickly writes a big line with white chalk, and slams it right in front of the shop. It draws a crowd. People come over to check it out. Someone says, "They're a bit cocky, huh?" No sales pitch on the board, just one bold line. "We fix imported stuff others can't." The crowd goes wild. A guy in work clothes laughs. Imported stuff is expensive. Even those old pros at the department store don't guarantee repairs. A little street shop dares to talk big. Isn't the sign too much? What if someone really brings in some high-end stuff and it can't be fixed? Wouldn't that ruin their reputation? Chun Mo stands behind the counter, carefully wiping the soldering iron with a white cotton cloth. Can't fix it isn't in my vocabulary. Without this sign, how will real customers and big spenders find their way here? I used to hand solder top military chips. These 90s imported home appliances look like kids' toys to me. The sun sets westward. A whole afternoon passes. Not a single customer. Everyone just sees it as a joke. The Wyking anxiously rubs her hands. Right then, a harsh screech of brakes. Right on the curb. The crowd scatters in surprise. The Wyking nervously looks at the entrance. Chun Mo puts down the cloth, stands up slowly, eyes sharp, looking outside. A black Volga sedan stops crookily in front of the shop. Tires up on the curb. A smell of burning rubber. The car door bursts open. A young man in a black leather jacket and sunglasses jumps out in a hurry,
Tucking a big silver-gray machine under his arm.
an extremely rare imported dual cassette VCR. In 1990, this was pricier than a color TV. Black market price started at 3,000 yuan. Normal folks had never seen one. The young man, sweating heavily, rushes into the shop, catches a glimpse of the board. His eyes suddenly light up. He slams the VCR onto the counter. Panting hard, Chun Mo glances at the machine and grins slightly. The Wyking stands behind the counter, her heart beating fast. He knows their era starts from this moment. Let's get started. Making the first sale at Mogo Appliances. A beat-up van with southern plates pulls up. It parks wildly in front of the chalkboard. The door is yanked open roughly. A guy in a floral shirt with slick back hair, wearing a chunky gold chain and a flashy Rolex, a chubby man, jumps out, sweating heavily, acting supermanic. clutching tightly in his hands. A box wrapped tight in a black plastic bag. He immediately locks eyes on the chalkboard that says import repairs only. Like a raging bull,
He burst into the store, cradling the black box.
that black box is really heavy. He drops it hard onto the wooden counter. The plastic bag opens up, revealing a fully silver gray keypad and a machine covered with complex English labels. The crowd gasps. Someone shouts, "That's a genuine Panasonic VCR. Goes for 4 to 5 grand on the black market. Can you fix anything?" Chunmo glances silently at the machine. A slight smirk appears. The chubby man clings desperately to the counter. He breathes like a bellows. His gold chain sways. Sweat drips down his slicked back hair. His floral shirt collar is totally soaked. "My name's Zhang Dayang. Southern boss. I've thrown everything I've got into this. Brought these back from the special zone. 50 busted imported Panasonic VCRs." As soon as he says that, the crowd at the door erupts. Someone yells 50 Panasonic VCRs. A good one fetches 4-5 grand. Even if they're busted, 50 of them are still worth tens of thousands. This guy's a big spender. The Weikin behind the counter hears 10 grand. Her legs go weak. She grabs the wall to keep from collapsing. All these units have the same problem. Plug them in, nothing happens. Even the biggest department store repair shop couldn't fix them. They call it junk. That so-called chief engineer at the department store tore apart 3 of my machines with 3 master techs. Not only couldn't fix them, when plugged in, the main board started smoking. Now they've sentenced my machines to death. Called them all plastic trash. If these are really junk, I'm jumping into the Xinjiang River tonight. Suddenly, a harsh sneer comes from the edge of the crowd. Someone mocks Zhang Dayang. Boss Jin says he's desperate, trying anything. A few apprentices in gray work uniforms push through the crowd. A man in a sharp suit and gold-rimmed glasses, well-groomed, middle-aged guy, strides into the store. He's the chief engineer from the city's department store repair shop. In this era, Zhou Mingyuan, anyone who can fix imported electronics, is worshipped as a top expert. Zhou Mingyuan steps up to the counter, glances sideways at the shirtless Chunmo holding a soldering iron and Zhang Dayang. "I told you already. All the main power modules are fried. Plus, the core decoder ICs are totally blown. It's just a heap of scrap. If you don't sell them as junk at the department store, you come to some shady flashlight repair shop on a back street. Do you really think these country bumpkins who can't even read circuit diagrams will fix it for you? Master Joe, isn't there really nothing the department store can do? That's 10 grand on the line. I fixed imported goods in the city for 10 years. If I say it's junk, no one's saving it?" The crowd nods in agreement. Some say Master Joe studied abroad. He says it's hopeless, so it's definitely hopeless. Others snicker. This little shop owner probably never even seen a Panasonic VCR, yet he dares to claim he fixes what others can't. The expert just showed him up. Should smash that chalkboard outside ASAP. Stop fooling people. Can you even handle imported ICs? If you mess it up, that's $1,000 lost. Can you afford that? Facing Zhou Mingyuan's arrogant provocation and the crowd's mocking, Chunmo finally moves. He puts down his cloth, raises his head, eyes icy cold, stares right at Zhou Mingyuan's proud face, spits out 2 words, noisy. Chunmo reaches out with his calloused hand, pulls the Panasonic VCR right in front of him. "Don't touch it. You need a special hex wrench to open this thing." Before he finishes, Chunmo casually grabs a regular Phillips screwdriver. His wrist moves like a blur. In 3 seconds, 6 tiny hidden screws from the back are expertly picked out onto the magnet tray. Chunmo presses his thumbs on the metal case, pushes it back, brutal but smart. Zhou Mingyuan's face changes instantly. Over at the department store, they need blueprints just to find the screws. It takes forever. This guy peeled the case with his eyes shut. Once the metal case pops open, the complex electronics inside are revealed. What everyone sees is Japan's top industrial craftsmanship, a dense, super complex circuit board. "You brute! Be careful or you'll tear the ribbon cables." Chunmo ignores it. He leans on the counter. His sharp eyes scan the big green motherboard. No need for a multimeter to check voltage. No need for an oscilloscope to check signals. He was the chief engineer of a billion-dollar firm in his past life. Cracked countless foreign top-level tech blockades. These 90s home electronics are totally transparent to him. His gaze moves past the burned-up main power module. Instantly locks onto the board's edge. At a tiny octagon chip, Chun-Mo smirks, totally unimpressed. He stands up straight, super casual, throws the screwdriver on the table. The city's biggest department store, that so-called expert. To me, he's chief. Trash, nothing but trash. This board fries the main IC when powered on. That's a core hardware failure. You know nothing. Hardware failure. Open your damn eyes. This is called an anti-tamper lock. A self-destruct circuit designed by foreign manufacturers. The whole room goes silent. Everyone is stunned. Zhang Dayang blurts out, "What's a self-destruct anti-tamper circuit?" Chun-Mo grabs a fine tweezer, points to the spring-loaded octagon chip. His tone is icy, showing serious expertise. This is how they keep the Japanese stuff locked. To prevent hacking, they hide a micro switch under the case. If clueless idiots who can't even read the manual force open the case without jumping the wire in order, the switch triggers instantly. When that switch triggers, internal capacitors dump reverse high voltage instantly. That high voltage hits the board in a flash, blowing up the power module and IC chip right away. You toasted 3 machines. Because you messed up. You set it off yourself? Still act like an expert and say it's junk. That's some hardcore specialist level smackdown. Like a loud slap right on Zhou Mingyuan's face. Zhou Mingyuan breaks out in cold sweat. He stares hard at the spring chip, head reeling.
10 years fixing electronics.
Never heard of this, but what Chun-Mo said lines up perfectly with the smoking boards. Matches exactly. No way, you're just making stuff up. Since you claim it's so amazing, let's see you fix it. The IC chip is totally burned through. The motherboard's trashed. Show me how you'll save it. The tamper circuit fried the whole machine. Can it even be fixed now? Everyone at the door holds their breath. All eyes are glued to Chun-Mo. Chun-Mo gives a cold laugh. Super swift. He grabs the burning hot soldering iron. If it's burnt, I'll just reconnect it. He grabs a roll of super thin enameled wire. Aims the wire end at the scorched motherboard. The iron tip presses down instantly. Today I'll show you what real repair is. Iron touches the rosin. A burst of sharp white smoke rises up. Chun-Mo totally ignores. The furious Zhou Mingyuan. Left hand holds a sharp scalpel. He scrapes the burnt green board without hesitation. The damaged insulation and chawed copper foil gets scraped off like dandruff, revealing the intact root of the circuit underneath. Are you crazy? You're destroying the motherboard. That power IC is a custom imported chip from Japan. You can't buy a replacement for it here. You broke the silver pin. Nobody could fix this now. Shut up. He drops the scalpel, then grabs a regular Chinese octagonal chip from the parts box.
He picks up the wire cutters.
One snip. He brazenly cuts the Japanese chip, right at the base, and tosses it straight in the trash. Everyone gasps. Zhang Dayang's legs almost give out. He nearly sits on the floor. That chip cost a fortune to get. You just cut up the original part. You think some cheap local chip can replace a Panasonic custom chip? You don't even understand pin mapping. Let me teach you what pin mapping is. While everyone watches in shock, Chun-Mo boldly flips the Chinese chip upside down, sticks it onto an empty spot on the board. This is called dead weight soldering. Just as he finishes speaking, Chun-Mo pulls out a hair-thin wire. The iron tip precisely touches the first pin of the chip, hands it straight across to a far resistor, solders it down in a second. This so-called custom power IC is nothing special. It's just a basic voltage comparator with a step-down regulator. The Japanese purposely scrambled the pin order and repackaged it, just to mess with fools who blindly follow the manual. Second jumper wire is connected. Third line bridges a short. Chun-Mo works super fast. White smoke trails behind the iron. Barely 3 minutes in. 8 fine copper wires look like a spider web, perfectly hooking the upside-down chip straight into the complex Panasonic circuit. Finally, Chun-Mo's pliers dart to the board's edge. The spring-loaded tamper-proof microswitch. Zhou Mingyuan freaks out. The booby trap that destroyed 3 machines gets yanked out. roots and all in one brutal move. Chunmo tosses it onto the ground and stomps it. There goes your temper lock. Chunmo drops the soldering iron, reaches under the counter, pulls out a 14-inch black and white test TV, snaps in the yellow, white, and red AV cables, grabs the VCR, and plugs the cord straight into 220 volts. Everyone instantly holds their breath. Zhou Mingyuan stares at the back slot, gritting his teeth hard. In his head, he's cursing Zhang Dayang like crazy. Praying hard, sweating bullets. Chunmo sticks out a finger and casually hits the red power button. No explosion, no smoke. Just a quiet, steady whir of the motor. The green fluorescent display on the front panel lights up instantly, and the numbers jump super clear. It's alive! It lit up. It's on. Chunmo stayed silent. He slid a tape into the slot. A smooth mechanical whir sounded. The head spun at high speed. The 14-inch TV flashed suddenly. The static vanished. A sharp HK action movie appeared. The audio was loud and clear. No lag, no static at all. The room went deathly quiet. It lasted for 5 full seconds. Then the crowd exploded. Someone cried, "He's a god!" Imports that experts gave up on. He fixed with scrap parts and wires. Others cursed Zhou Mingyuan, saying he broke it himself. A total fraud. All eyes glared at Zhou Mingyuan. Zhou looked worse than death. He was shaking violently, staring at the TV, at the clear picture and sound. His world completely collapsed. His pride and 10 years' experience were a joke to this young man. It was a total slaughter. Zhou's lips trembled. He couldn't say a word. Still want to see me fix it? Can you even afford the tuition? Take your people and scram. The word scram was dominant. Zhou had no face left to stay. Amidst loud mockery, he fled like a beaten dog, pushing through the crowd, and vanished. Zhang Dayang was ecstatic. The director rushed to the counter, gripping Chunmo's hand tight. Tears and snot ran with joy. He called Chunmo Big Brother. "You're my savior."
He unzipped his black bag,
Grabbed 3 thick stacks of cash, and slammed them on the counter. He paid the fee on the spot. "This 3,000 is for this machine. Bring the other 49 in. Fix each one, and I'll pay 500 per unit. 3,000. Everyone's eyes turned red. That's more than a year's wages. Chunmo worked for 10 minutes and made a fortune. The Weeking covered her mouth to keep from screaming. Chunmo was perfectly calm. He tossed the cash in a drawer. He told Zhang to bring them in. Pick them up tomorrow afternoon. His tone was indifferent, as if fixing 50 imports was easy as slicing cabbage. Zhang Dayang was impressed. Quick as a flash, he tore a page from his notebook, scribbled a long note, and stamped it with his thumbprint. He pushed it over respectfully. A long-term exclusive contract. All appliances from the south are yours. I only trust Mo's Electronics. Chunmo glanced at it and signed with a flourish. The crowd went wild. Mo's is the best in town. Bring all our repairs here. That day, Chunmo became famous. At dusk, the crowd left. Zhang and his men stacked 49 VCRs in the shop. The place was packed. Chunmo locked the shutter door. He took the 3 stacks of cash and handed them to the Weeking. Grocery money for tomorrow. Holding the 3,000 yuan, the Weeking's eyes welled up. After years of suffering, they finally made it. As they prepared to head home, a shrill, nasty voice rang out. Someone called the Weeking's name, asking why it was so lively. "Oh, it's your place." The loser Chunmo got lucky and actually opened a shop. The Weeking froze instantly. Her smile vanished. Chunmo turned around, his eyes cold as ice. A fat old woman in a wool coat, with a punkish young man, walked toward them. It was her mother, Zhao Quilian, and her snobbish brother, the Hui. Hearing that shrill call, the Weeking felt a shock. She shivered violently and hid behind Chunmo. Zhao heard about the money, and her eyes turned red with greed. She skipped dinner to drag her son over. Zhao's eyes bypassed Chunmo and locked onto the money in the Weeking's hands. Zhao swallowed hard, her face wrinkling into a fake grin. She pushed forward, holding 2 bags of rotten apples, and held them out. She called the good daughter. "Oh, I missed you so much. I heard Chunmo is successful, opening such a big shop. I brought your favorite apples." The Hui looked like a thug. Eyeing the shiny new bike, he reached for the handle. Nice bike. I have a blind date tomorrow. Let me borrow it for a few days. To look cool. Chunmo didn't waste words. He delivered a loud slap right to the Hui's hand. The Hui pulled back in pain. His hand turned bright red. He shouted, "Why'd you hit me?" Chunmo stepped forward, his tall frame like a wall, shielding the weaking. "Keep your dirty hands off." One scratch on the paint. And you couldn't pay for it. Seeing Chunmo's attitude, Zhao's face flickered. But for the money, she forced a fake smile. "Kiangzi, we're all family. I was hard on you before, but it was for your own good. Now that you're rich, I'm truly happy for you. Look, the Hui is getting engaged. They're asking for 2,000 yuan. We're worried sick about it. You just made 3,000. A drop in the bucket for you. Let Weeking give us 2,000 to help out her brother." She was so entitled, shamelessly self-righteous. The Weeking, hiding behind, heard the 2,000 yuan and started shaking with rage. Tears welled in her eyes. Chunmo let out a mocking laugh. It was loud and piercing in the empty street. He turned sharply, pointing at his shivering wife, and roared at Zhao. "Family? Last month when Duaduo had a fever, and she was having seizures, Weeking ran home in the rain. She knelt outside your door, just to borrow $10 for meds. You old hag! What did you do? You wouldn't even open the door." Calling Weeking a jinx through the door, claiming no money, then taking $20 to treat her loser son to roast duck. Zhao Kuilian was stunned by Chunmo's incredibly terrifying presence. Stammering, she lied. "It wasn't that. You're a gambling addict. I feared you'd gamble her money away." "Bullshit! How did you treat her then?" "Despising me and forcing her to divorce. You found her next husband. That one-legged man from the next street. That 50-year-old bachelor, Blind Zhang. If Weeking remarried him, he'd give you $500 in bride price. Selling your own daughter for a dowry, just to buy your son a bride. And now you mention being family?" These dark and malicious past deeds were ripped open in public by Chunmo. Passers-by in their tracks, pointing and whispering at the mother and son. With disdain, someone said, "This mother's heart is so black, forcing her daughter to marry a cripple." Others added, "This is pure greed, kicking them like dogs when they're down, then claiming family when they're rich."
Hearing the insults around him,
The Hui felt embarrassed, stiffening his neck. He started acting like a thug. "Stop bringing up the past. Weeking is my mother's own flesh and blood. It's only natural she supports my mom. This $2,000 today. You're giving it like it or not. Or we'll sit here and never leave." Saying that, the Hui arrogantly sat right on the shop's steps. Zhao Kuilian also sat on the ground, wailing and throwing a tantrum. "Everyone, come and look. The daughter is rich now, but leaves her mother to die. I don't want to live anymore." Chunmo looked at the shameless pair, his gaze cold as ice. He turned to the Weeking and calmly asked if she'd give the money. Weeking gripped Chunmo's shirt tightly, looking at her mother on the ground, and her thuggish brother, her mind filled with that snowy day, kneeling at her mother's door, desperately begging and bowing, remembering Duaduo almost dying. At that moment, her heart died completely. She suddenly stepped from behind Chunmo, wiping the tears from her face. "This is the last time I call you mother. Since you left me in the snow, I no longer have a family. My only family is Chunmo and Duaduo. You won't get a single penny from me." After saying that, Weeking firmly grabbed Chunmo's arm. Seeing she really wouldn't pay, Zhao Kuiyin flipped out, scrambling up from the ground. She lunged to grab Weeking's hair. "You ungrateful little brat. I'll kill you." Chunmo's eyes sharpened. He raised his long leg, and with sheer force, kicked the Hui squarely in the chest. The Hui was sent flying like a rag doll, soaring backward, and slamming into a utility pole. He rolled on the ground, clutching his gut. Chunmo told Zhao to take her loser son, swiping the mesh bag from her hand. Rotten apples rolled everywhere. Chunmo's ferocious aura terrified Zhao Kuilian completely. She scrambled over to help the Hui up. Zhao cursed venomously. "If you have guts, you'd better never. Return to the courtyard." Mo sneered, telling her not to worry about it.
He nimbly hopped onto his bike.
Weeking sat on the back holding Duadwo. Mo pedaled hard, and the bike sped off like the wind. Zha and the Hui didn't give up, panting as they chased behind.
10 minutes later.
Mo rode back to the compound. Just parked the car in the yard. Zhao Kilian and the Hui squeezed in right behind. If you don't pay today, US 2 will just live in this dump. We're not leaving eating and drinking here. Mo completely ignored them. He turned and walked inside. When he came back out, suddenly in Mo's hand, there was a heavy, chunky, black hunk of iron. It was a small AC welder he just brought back from the junkyard this afternoon. Fully repaired, Mo took the thick cable of the welder and plugged it straight into the high-voltage socket in the yard. He held welding pliers in one hand and grabbed an old black glass face shield in the other, putting it in front of his face. The Hui stared at the thick welding rod in Mo's hand, stuttering, asking what he was going to do. Mo kicked the Hui aside and walked straight to his house, right in front of the shaky, broken wooden door. He'd added a huge, heavy scrap iron gate outside the door, installed earlier thanks to a run to the junkyard boss.
It was a massive security door.
Hauled back earlier today, Mo yanked shut the iron gate, locking Zhao Quillian and the Hui out in the yard. A blinding blue arc cracked open in the night. The welding rod in Mo's hand was incredibly precise, aimed between the iron gate and the steel post in the wall. Sparks flew everywhere. The insane heat instantly melted the metal. Mo's welding was wild. And in just 2 minutes, he burned through 5 thick welding rods and welded the whole heavy gate, solidly and totally shut. Not even a keyhole left, the blue light disappeared. Mo ripped off the black shield from his face and across the iron gate, looked at the totally freaked out Zhao Quilian and the Hui. He tossed the hot welding pliers to the ground, a cold smirk on his lips.
He said, "If you want to stay, fine."
But this gate is welded shut. If you've got the nerve, try biting through the iron bar. Then come in, he finished. Mo took the Weeking's hand and went straight inside without a glance back, slammed the wooden door shut behind them. Only the two were left outside in the cold wind, staring at the gate welded completely shut, totally dumbfounded. Inside, the mother and son had the heater burning bright. The Weeking put the 3,000 yuan on the table, watching Mo wash his hands. For the first time, that feeling of safety nearly overflowed her heart. She was ready to fully follow this man. Mo dried his hands, walked to the table, picked up the 3 stacks of bills.
He didn't even look at the cash.
His eyes instead turned to a calendar on the wall. He called the Weeking by name. That's a ton of cash. A wild look flashed in the engineer's eyes. And he said tomorrow.
He'd fix all 50 imported VCRs at the shop.
All done, all delivered. He wanted to buy a red Changhong motorcycle, take the Weeking along, and leave this dump of a shanty town in style. Before the year ends, he would make the Weeking the first person on this street with 10,000 bucks. Mo spoke quietly, but with total confidence and insane determination. For the next 3 days, Mo locked himself inside Moja Electronics. Didn't step out once. 50 Japanese Panasonic VCRs, stacked up like a wall next to the workbench. Mo worked shirtless, with half a cigarette dangling from his mouth, using a soldering iron and needle-nose pliers, sending sparks flying nonstop. Opening cases, replacing parts, checking circuits, patching wires, testing. Tested again. A muscle memory honed as chief engineer at a billion-yuan company in his past life made his hands almost robotic and extremely exact. Not a single wasted move. Averaged 20 minutes per VCR. On the evening of the 3rd day, the last VCR's screen lit up with green numbers. Mo set down the hot soldering iron, exhaling a long puff of smoke. 50 scrapped VCRs, all powered up just then. A screech of brakes outside. Zhang Dang burst in with 4 guys, rushing in like a gust of wind. He looked around at the neat rows of VCRs all aglow and got so hyped he started cussing. He shouted that Mo was a living legend. 3 days, 50 VCRs, all working. Mo wiped sweat off his face with a towel, pointed to the machines for Zhang Dang to check himself. Zhang picked 3 at random, hooked them up to a TV, the image razor sharp, Button's super responsive. He said no need, they're all good. He'd vouch for Chen Mo's skills with his head.
He yanked over his black combo lock case.
Slammed it on the counter. A crisp double click. Chest popped open, stuffed to the brim, with fat stacks of fresh cash. Zhang Dayang set 1 unit, 549 yuan, all accounted for. 24,500 plus 3,000 from before. That's a total of 27,500. Told Chen Mo to count it. Chen Mo didn't even glance at it. Just scooped up a few bundles and tossed them in a drawer. No need to count. Get the goods, he said. Told him to move the machines. Zhang Dayang thanked him over and over, then his guys loaded up the van with the machines. Right before he left, he bowed respectfully to Chen Mo and sped off straight for the southern black market. The shop went quiet. Chen Mo rolled down the shutter and poured all the cash from the drawer onto the counter. Over 20,000 yuan. In 1990, when the average salary was only 30 yuan, this much money was enough to blow anyone's mind. Chen Mo expertly pulled out exactly 100 bills from the pile, wrapped them up in newspaper, and stuffed them into his inside pocket. Then the rest, he locked in the bottom iron safe of the counter. He opened the door, strode across the street to Boeing Credit Union. Snow was falling heavily by year-end. The streets were packed with shoppers buying for the new year. Chen Mo braved the snow and pushed open their new heavy wooden door at home. Inside, the coal stove was burning hot. The Weeking was in an apron, rolling out dumpling skins at the table. I'm playing off to the side with a toy car Chen Mo made out of wire for me. Seeing Chen Mo walk in, the Weeking clapped the flour off her hands, brought over a bowl of hot water, and told him to hurry and wash up. The dumplings were almost ready, but Chen Mo didn't wash his hands. He strode to Hu table, stuck a hand inside his jacket, and pulled out a little red notebook, slapped that red notebook down on the floury cutting board with swagger. Told the Weeking to open it, grinning with a wild, confident smile. The Weeking froze for a second, wiped her hands on her apron, and picked up the red notebook with care. On the cover, gold letters read, Bank of China Passbook. The Weeking opened to the first page. His eyes fell on the balance column. The Weeking's fingers started trembling hard. He stared at the number. His eyes were about to pop out. 10,000. The Weiking's voice cracked instantly. Like a duck being strangled, she shouted 10,000 yuan. His legs went weak.
He collapsed straight onto the broken chair behind him.
Clutching the passbook tightly, tears streamed down all at once. This was a number he'd never even dared dream of. 10,000 yuan. Back when 1 yuan could buy 2 pounds of pork. What does 10,000 mean? The Weikin was crying so hard she couldn't breathe. She asked Chen Mo if he earned it all from fixing electronics. Chen Mo reached out his big hand and ruffled the Weikin's hair, said it was just pocket change. Told her that tomorrow, New Year's Eve, she should wear the red coat he bought her and take Duaduo, the 3 of them, out to shop for big stuff. Early the next morning, they went to the mechanical and electrical market. Here they only sold tractors and farm vehicles, and a few high-end motorcycles. Chen Mo brought the Weikin and Duaduo. They skipped all those smoky farm tricycles and walked straight to the center exhibit, where a really cool 2-wheeler was parked. The red gas tank was super bright, big chrome exhaust pipes shining, a huge round headlight with an insanely wild mechanical vibe. In the early 90s, every man's ultimate dream, the Changhong CJ50 motorcycle. When bikes filled all the streets, anyone riding a gas motorcycle was 100 times cooler than driving a Porsche later on. Chen Mo pointed at the shiny Changhong in the middle and asked the boss for the price. The chubby boss was munching on sunflower seeds. He glanced at Chen Mo, saying it's a brand new factory bike. 4,500 yuan. No bargaining. And you need the proper ticket. Chen Mo didn't waste a word.
He just pulled out a fat stack
of banknotes wrapped in newspaper, plus an industrial coupon he bought in the gray market for 30 yuan, slammed it all down on the boss's desk, and coolly handed over the exact money for the test drive and gas. The boss almost choked on a sunflower seed. He nervously unwrapped a paper and counted all 4,500 yuan, nodding and bowing nonstop. saying he'll fill the tank right away.
10 minutes later.
Chun Mo swung his leg over the red Changhong with swagger, inserted the key into the bike, turned on the ignition, right foot on the kickstarter, stomped down hard. A wild, thunderous roar erupted from the engine, instantly shaking up the market. The exhaust blew out sweet-smelling blue smoke. Like a mechanical beast awakening, Chun Mo turned and shouted for the Waikin to hop on. The Waikin was wearing the red wool coat, her face flushed with excitement. She carefully sat sideways on the big back seat, clutching Chun Mo's strong waist tightly, while Duoduo was held in front by Chun Mo, yelling with joy. Chun Mo told them to hold on. Left hand pulling the clutch, left foot kicking first gear, right hand twisting the throttle hard. The red Changhong motorcycle shot out like lightning, blasting out of the mechanical market, straight toward downtown. The freezing wind on the main road howled in their ears. The Weeking pressed her face tightly against Chun Mo's silent back. She listened to the powerful roar of the engine, watched the streets on both sides. Pedestrians and bicycles sped by in reverse. All those riding bikes slammed to a stop, utterly shocked. Every eye was glued to this flashy red motorcycle. Their gazes were full of envy and jealousy. The Weeking shouted too fast. Her tears got blown away by the wind, but her face was wild with excitement. The motorcycle sped down the road, right into the alley where their housing yard was. Chun Mo pressed the loud, high-pitched horn with attitude. That piercing horn, mixed with the roaring engine, instantly blasted everyone in the courtyard outside. Someone shouted in surprise, "It's a motorcycle." A red motorcycle. When Chun Mo, looking like a total show-off, parked the Changhong bike at the entrance of the housing yard, the neighbors nearby nearly had their eyes pop out. Aunt Liu from next door was holding her veggie bowl and got so scared she dropped it. Radishes and cabbage rolled everywhere. She stared hard at the one on the motorcycle. Super cool Chun Mo. And in her new coat, sitting on the back. Everyone started shouting imposively. Chun Mo bought a motorcycle. That must have cost 4 or 5 grand.
He's rich now.
Someone followed up, yelling, "A millionaire. First millionaire on the whole street." Even the factory manager's wife, Sun Shulin, was in the crowd, glaring at the shiny red Changhong. So jealous she was grinding her teeth. Her husband Lao Song had been a factory director half his life, but could never even afford a tire for a motorcycle. Chun Mo balanced the bike with one foot on the ground, giving everyone a cold, ruthless look. Just 2 months ago, these same people blocked his door, called him a gambling loser to his face, tried to take his house, and steal his daughter's food. But now, he rides the most eye-catching machine in the city, his pockets stuffed with thick bank books. Using pure industrial power, had stomped all these people under, kept his foot. His money pile was finally built up, while everyone in the yard watched the bike, dead jealous, and in total shock crowded around it. A beat-up green Beijing Jeep 212 came screeching wild into the yard entrance. The brakes slammed hard. The tires left 2 long black marks on the snowy ground. The door was thrown open, rough as heck. Director Song from Guangming Machinery Factory didn't even have time to put on his coat. Covered in sweat as he jumped out of the car was Old Sun, the factory's oldest chief engineer. The old guy was so anxious his dentures were about to fall out. Director Song instantly spotted Chun Mo on that red Changhong motorcycle, and it was like seeing a lifesaver. He dashed over at full speed, grabbed the bike's handlebar and wouldn't let go. His voice was shrill with despair. On the verge of tears, he called Chun Mo over and over. "Master Lin, Boss Lin, Ancestor Lin, help us," said the factory had just spent a fortune bringing in a used hydraulic CNC machine tool from Germany. The main board burned out. The whole plant had stopped working. Chun Mo's left hand, resting on the clutch, paused just barely for a moment. A true chief engineer's spirit and blood boiled up. The second he heard CNC machine, instantly fired up. Messing with home appliances was now over. It was time for a real step up in industrial power. The red Changhong motorcycle was still rumbling softly in idle. Blue smoke puffed from the exhaust. It was dead silent at the yard gate. Everyone stood there like they'd been struck by lightning, staring in a daze at the once mighty Guangming Machinery Factory. Now, Director Song was clinging to Chun Mo's bike like a drowning man, grasping the handlebar with all his life. Sun Shulan shrieked from the crowd, bodging out aggressively, shoving people aside. She pointed at Chun Mo on the motorcycle, spitting everywhere with every word, yelling at Director Song. How could a real state-owned factory director come begging this lousy gambler for help? She kept on. And he's riding a stolen motorcycle too. Told Director Song to get security to arrest him right now. A sharp, thunderous slap rang out. Director Song spun around instantly, swung his arm wide, and smacked her hard across Sun Shulan's chubby, spicy face. His eyes were bloodshot, like a beast cornered and losing his mind. He yelled at her to shut her stupid mouth, swore if she ever disrespected Chun Mo again,
He'd divorce her right now.
told her to get lost. That slap knocked Sun Shulan straight down, in the snow, clutching her face, too stunned to react. The whole compound was so afraid, no one even dared breathe. Director Song didn't even look at his wife on the ground, just turned to Chun Mo in total despair.
He called him Master Lin Chun Mo.
Said the factory was in crisis, and told him the city just approved a $3 million foreign currency loan for their plant. They spent all of it to buy that second-hand German hydraulic CNC machine tool. During the trial run this afternoon, the main board suddenly smoked and burned. He was shaking all over. His voice was desperate when he heard CNC machine. Chun Mo's usually calm eyes finally flashed a razor-sharp light. It was the early 90s. China's heavy industry was just starting up. A second-hand German CNC machine was like a priceless treasure that the whole city treated like an idol. Chun Mo twisted the throttle, cutting off Director Song's pleading. He said coldly, "If it's burned, fix it. Why come to me?" At that moment, Chief Engineer Old Sun scrambled off the old Jeep, nearly tripping as he rushed over. The old man was so worried he started to cry, said it can't be fixed. Old Sun slapped his own leg and said the whole plant was shut down. The German engineer Klaus, who came with the machine, was like a vampire. He wouldn't even let them touch the machine case. Klaus took one look and said China's voltage was unstable, which made the mainboard fry, and he wanted $100,000 repair fee on the spot. Plus he said he'd have to remove the mainboard, ship it back to the original factory in Germany for repair, and it'd take at least half a year round trip. Old Sun stomped his feet, desperate.
He said,
Their factory had just accepted a massive gearbox order from the ministry. It had to be delivered next month. Now everything depended on this machine for new orders and production. If they had to wait 6 months, all those thousands of people at Guangming would be out of work, wouldn't even have food to eat. Director Song would be done for. He nodded frantically nearby, sweat soaking right through his thick cotton coat. Chun Mo let out a mocking, icy laugh, asked why they didn't go find Zhou Mingyuan at the department store downtown. He bragged about being the top expert, didn't he? Old Sun slapped his leg, anxious as ever, saying they'd already tried everyone. Every appliance repair guy in the city, the old radio factory technician, was taken to the plant by them this afternoon. Those guys just stared at the machines packed with integrated circuits. They didn't even dare to make a sound. Zhou Mingyuan couldn't even read the blueprints. That German guy called him a pig. Old Sun stared hard at Chun Mo and said, later they found out. On Jianxi Road, there's a legendary electrician who fixes imported machines. He can even crack anti-tamper circuits by hand. He asked around and learned it was Chun Mo. Old Sun said he's been working machinery his whole life. Today he swallowed his pride and begged Chun Mo to come check out the factory. We can't let these foreigners walk all over us. Director Song bent down too. The proud director had to humble himself. He personally came to the repair shop to invite Chun Mo. He didn't care at all about the shocked faces of all the neighbors. He gave Chun Mo a deep 90-degree bow. He said he was blind to the factory's past problems. If Chun Mo could fix the machine, the terms are whatever you want. Chun Mo straddled his motorcycle, looking super cold. At these two factory leaders who were desperate, he turned his head and glanced at the person sitting behind him. The Wakey, still a bit stunned. He asked Director Song, "Any terms, right?" He said yesterday. Director Gao of the second department at Guangming Machinery forced his wife to move 50 boxes of pig iron and threatened to cut all his attendance bonus. Director Song heard this, and his mind went blank. He roared angrily, called Director Gao a bastard. He told Chunmo not to worry,
He'd call the factory right away.
and removed Director Gao from his post immediately. Director Gao would clean all the factory toilets tomorrow morning. If he doesn't clean well, he'll be fired. The Weeking sat behind Chunmo, listening to this bold, protective conversation. Her eyes instantly reddened. She buried her face into Chunmo's broad back. Only then did Chunmo let out a satisfied cold snort,
He didn't get off the bike.
and went straight for the loud horn. He quickly helped the Weeking and Duoduo off the bike, telling the Weeking to take Duoduo home. Keep the passbook safe. Then,
He fiercely swung his red Changhong motorcycle around.
making a tight turn, he called Director Song's name directly. Bossily pointed at the beat-up Jeep, telling him to lead the way. Saw he was gonna meet that German guy. Director Song was thrilled, nodding again and again, urged the driver to go faster. Director Song and Old Sun hurried and tumbled into the Jeep. Chunmo twisted the throttle hard with his right hand. The red Changhong motorcycle gave off a piercing roar. The rear wheel dug up a huge patch of black mud in the snow. Like a cannonball, it sped out wild, right behind the Jeep, vanished at the end of the snowy street. In the family compound, Aunt Liu, son Shulen, and all dozens of neighbors were just standing there in the cold wind, stunned. They watched Chunmo take off like the wind, then looked at the doorway of the shabby house, where the Weiki stood in a bright red wool coat, holding the passbook with 10,000 yuan. Everyone there knew crystal clear. That old gambling addict, Chunmo, was gone. Now the one alive was someone even the factory director had to kneel and beg. A seriously terrifying boss. 20 minutes later, Guangming Machinery Factory, Heavy Workshop Number 1. The workshop is huge, but right now it's totally dead. You could hear even a screw hitting the floor. Hundreds of workers in blue uniforms were in serious panic. In the middle of the crowd at the center of the workshop stood a machine as tall as a 2-story building, painted all over with dark green industrial paint. An incredibly massive, incredibly complex mechanical beast. Next to this mechanical giant stood a man with an air of arrogance. A foreigner with golden hair, Klaus, the German engineer, dressed in a perfectly crisp suit, arms crossed over his chest, looking around with utter contempt at the Chinese workers sweating nervously. Nearby, a complicated control cabinet had already been opened, giving off a harsh, burnt smell. Klaus, speaking in broken Chinese, rudely pointed at the cabinet and shouted, calling the Chinese stupid, saying they had no clue about precision machinery, and that, in their hands, the machine was totally wasted. Now the main control board was burnt out. Every so-called expert from the city had come, but no one dared even touch a single screw. Klaus sneered with absolute smugness, saying he had already cabled German headquarters, $100,000 for the repairs, not a penny less. Without German know-how, this pile of junk would just rust away. A few workshop supervisors and veteran workers nearby were shaking with anger, clenching their fists tight, but couldn't say a word in return, because he spoke the truth. No one here understood its inner circuits. Just as Klaus kept on boasting and mocking everyone, a wild, deafening motorcycle roar suddenly blasted in from outside the iron doors. 2 heavy steel workshop doors were shoved open from outside by a rough, forceful push. A gust of cold wind mixed with snow blew in. A flashy red Changhong motorcycle boldly rode straight into the workshop, stopping sharply on the smooth concrete floor, its tires screeching against the ground, letting out an ear-piercing squeal, coming to a complete stop, right in front of the massive German machine. Every worker in the whole workshop instantly fixed their eyes on this eye-catching motorcycle. Chunmo sat on the bike, looking cool and confident, pulled out the key, 1 foot touching the ground, not even bothering to take off his helmet. Just got off the bike. Chunmo's icy stare shone through the workshop lights, looking straight past the crowd, sharp as a blade, piercing right at the arrogant German. Sharp as a blade, piercing right at the arrogant German. This is what real industrial power looks like. It starts now.